Awesome. All
It
right.
should let
Well,
you know, yep, that it's being recorded.
all right, Jess, is it all set to go?
Yes, it's all ready.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Jess and I are really excited to talk to you guys a little bit about moving your organizational operations online. I definitely think hopefully the things we share with you today can be used in other facets, not just for student organizations, but wanted to give you some tips and tricks and really start to talk about kind of what does the rest of the semester and summer look like as we prepare for fall. So one of the first things we wanted to start with was really just kind of a general check-in. I know we were just chatting a little bit regarding what people are doing and kind of being at home, but I think it's really important in these kind of uncertain times. There's just a lot going on that we want to check in with you to see how you're feeling, but more importantly, how you're taking care of yourself. So Reagan, I know you're our one student on this call, but maybe talk to us a little bit about how have you adjusted to moving back to Sarasota and kind of what are you doing for yourself?
Moving back a little bit early was like weird because I wasn't exactly like planning on moving back this early or even over the summer.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting, like adjusting to especially like online classes and everything. I think we all share the same feelings about that, just about how weird it is. By taking care of myself, I'm watching a lot of Netflix. I'm trying to exercise as much as I can as well. And then like this was actually going to be a question I was going to ask at some point during this presentation, was kind of the communication within the organization and connecting with everyone and what exercises could be done.
Yeah, absolutely. How, and I think this brings us kind of to that next question of, I think the last few weeks have been kind of crazy. Everyone's kind of adjusting of, how have you stayed in contact, not only with people in your organization, but like your friends? What have you done to stay in contact with them? Or is it non-existent at this point?
Yeah, there's been a lot of FaceTime calls. And to be brutally honest with you, a lot of Xbox being played.
Gotcha.
So that's really how I've connected with them. In the best way. We're going to do a Zoom call here pretty soon, I think, with all of us.
Yeah.
And just to check in.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you alluded to this a little bit earlier, but, going to all online, like what's your experience been? How are you staying motivated? I've heard from some other students that that's been maybe their biggest challenge just because schedules are so different. Like, how are you getting yourself up every day to attend class?
I think with that is like the biggest thing is to put yourself on like a schedule to maintain throughout the day. And I think that's what I've been adjusting to since quarantine, because I knew that like if I didn't put myself on a schedule, I would probably be really lazy and lack a lot. So I try to formulate a schedule that's good for me. So wake up at 7 a.m., go exercise, and then come back and just get work done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. So what we're talking about today is kind of figuring out different tools and especially free resources that are out there for students, faculty, and staff to use to maybe stay connected, but also stay organized. Because some of the things we're going to talk about today is how do you wrap up the year when everyone just kind of up and left? But how do you kind of continue to look forward to the future? And so some of the things I think probably you are very familiar with, probably most students know about these things, but some things that are free for students are Microsoft Teams. The OneDrive, which everyone gets. There's Google Drive, and then another free resource is called Trello. And all of these platforms will allow you to invite your members, even your advisors. I think it's really important being an advisor to an organization, how do I stay connected to the students and kind of still offer support? Besides Zoom and FaceTime, one of our biggest challenges is how do we kind of organize our paperwork and the stuff we were trying to work on so that people have access to it, people can view it, people can see it. And so instead of just the once a week email with here's an agenda item, these platforms allow you to interact with people. Everyone can be at the document at the same time. They can edit. You can create folders that specific people can see. The really nice thing with Teams and Trello that I think are really cool, not only can you create folders and things to save your information, but you're also able to create tasks lists. You can create to-do lists. You're able to kind of assign people tasks. So Trello is not really part of our Microsoft product from the school. However, it is something free. The Housing and Res Life team used to use it all the time because, again, probably everyone from your organization can be given access to it, and you can have different kind of platforms for each group that you're a part of. Because I'm finding that some of the biggest things is how do you stay organized so that you can continue to stay connected to your organization and do things. So with some of these things, and especially with Teams and the OneDrive, I think these are really helpful because every student has these. They're on your iPad. They're easy to use from a laptop, from your iPad. You can even use them from your phone, which I think is really nice. But using Microsoft Teams to, host video e-board meetings, maybe subcommittee meetings, even Zoom, I think is a great one, or Chime, which I know a lot of your professors have been using. But it was still nice to schedule those, maybe not as frequently as you used to have them when you were on campus, but use those so that you are able to see people face to face instead of it just being an email with all this stuff in it that may get lost. We understand not everyone's checking their email, but I think with Microsoft Teams, it's really nice because there's a video function, but there's also functions for you to do chats and hold documents, which is really cool. And again, it's easy to use from all of your different things. And then again, the OneDrive, I think is helpful in terms of documents, being able to create folders, giving people access to those folders. I think probably the one downfall for a OneDrive and like Trello is there's no ability to do a like chat feature, where Microsoft Teams is kind of cool because everything is in that one platform. But I think it's important to use these resources, so that you can continue on. So for example, being the advisor for Theta Phi Alpha, one of the things that we did as we were kind of all transitioning to people leaving, we were trying to work on a budget and trying to get ourselves squared away for next fall. And so we created on the OneDrive an Excel document with our current budget, and then myself and the treasurer each have access. And so we're able to go in and make comments. We're able to kind of continue to work on our project that we had just started before you guys all left. And we're able to do that through the OneDrive. Same thing with Teams. I just spoke with our president to say, okay, instead of having weekly meetings, maybe it's, every other week, but let's go ahead and get our schedules together so that we can do some sort of Zoom or Microsoft Teams call so that we can see everyone's face, we can check in, but to keep us organized, because I'm sure probably most organizations out there, you were in the middle of planning events, getting yourself ready to transition, potentially depending on when elections happen. And so we want to walk you through today, and Jess is going to take over in a moment to really talk about things I think students should be thinking about this semester, and how do they get themselves prepared for kind of next year and moving forward, so that hopefully in August, when everyone's back, you guys can just pick up and run, and it's not like, wow, we didn't talk to each other for 5 months. We have no idea what's going on, because that could take you a few months to kind of pick up and move forward. And so, our hope is that using some of these free online tools, that you guys can stay connected, whether it's, through video or through documents, so that it's not kind of you just all dissipate for 5 months, but that you stay connected and you continue to work on some of those kind of really cool goals and missions that you have for your organizations. These are also cool resources if you have group projects for class that may come in handy as well if you're trying to share documents and work on projects together. Microsoft Teams would be a great thing where you can call each other. You can upload your document and I'll edit it at the same time. Same thing with the OneDrive, which is, really nice that you can use for your organizations, but you can also use for the classroom. So I'm going to turn it over to Jess. I want to have her walk you guys through kind of some things to think about for fall 2020, as well as kind of what things she can assist with for the remainder of the semester. So Jess, I'm going to turn it over to you. Just let me know when you need to click to the next slide.
Sounds good. Thanks. So preparing for fall 2020, you probably have a little bit more downtime because you're not having to go to classes, like making the commute or anything. We're spending a lot of time at home. So let's try to use this time to prepare for fall 2020. So the first thing I have here is that presidents and the executive board can update the job descriptions and responsibilities. Take this time to really reflect on what your organization's positions are and how their job description or their responsibilities can be tailored to the organization. We can also have your e-board members all get on one of those OneDrive documents that Megan was talking about and create some transition documents for the new e-board that's going to be coming through. I think a lot of times this is the transition is something that a lot of organizations don't think about. And so this is a perfect time now that you have maybe some extra time to work on your organization to create those transition documents and really have those people who are in those positions lay out or update all the different things and knowledge that they know. We also could look at your constitution. I know that SAE Reagan has a pretty lengthy constitution that you guys go over, but maybe looking to see what you might be missing or ways that you could be implementing more things within the constitution. Okay. Same thing with holding elections. You guys, if you need to be holding elections, making sure that you're doing that. There's going to be actually another webinar upcoming that talks about holding elections and how to do that if you need to online. Planning for events, think about what you did maybe this year and what you would have liked to have done and see what type of events you'd be planning. And then creating marketing materials. This could be anything from updating your social media, updating your presence page, thinking about maybe flyers or pamphlets that you can make for the involvement fair. Hopefully that's going to happen in the fall. All these things can be things that you're doing in order to prepare for next semester.
And then to bounce off that point, next week's the elections roundtable. Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yes, it is.
I need to join that one.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. So you can continue to engage your members. And this is something, Reagan, that you kind of talked about and you're seeing, how can you be doing this?
Yeah.
So the first thing I think for your executive board is to utilize the Microsoft Teams channel to chat. Okay. It's really great to use because you can shout out different people. It keeps a good log of things. You can search it. It's better than like a group text message sometimes because, like I said, you can log these things. You can search it. Another great thing is to just gather feedback, kind of do a SWOT analysis on what you want to do, what you did this year, and what you'd like to do next year. We also like the idea of holding a brainstorming session for new events or marketing ideas. And these are all things that you can do in order to, as I mentioned before, planning for fall 2020. But if you want to do some other fun things, we talk about scheduling a shared experience, watching a TED Talk together, sharing or showing a movie on Netflix and discussing afterwards, hosting contests and having members DM entries to the organization's social media account, or having doing those templates that some organizations are doing. They have really great ones on Canva. You can do this or that templates and have your members engage with those, or you can have them submit like their favorite picture from a meeting or an event you had this semester and put that on the social media. It's always really great too to up your social media game so that incoming students have something to kind of like look at and be like, oh, your organization's really active. Another cool thing that I actually learned from talking to another organization member the other day when I had a one-on-one with them was hearing about an app called House Party. It's a cool app that you can use to have everybody play different games. So there's like a Cards Against Humanity type of game on there. There's trivia, and it's just a great way to tell everybody to like log on to it, and you can interact with each other and play a common game at the same time. So I encourage you to get your members to do that because it's just something fun. It doesn't necessarily have to be, all work. You want to engage your members to make sure that they're still connecting with each other and having a reason to come back to the organization in the fall.
That sounds perfect for like a brotherhood event.
Yeah, that's actually, I was speaking with Brooke from Theta Phi Alpha about it, and I was like, this is definitely something that you should do for a sisterhood event. And yeah, it's just something cute to do.
I like that. Thank you.
You know what that was something else too, and I think again, we're in this kind of crazy time. Everyone kind of separated really fast. One of the things I've been seeing on a lot of Facebook pages has been talking about how do you still celebrate your members, your general members, but also your graduating members. And so, Reagan, something you may want to think about and talk about with the executive board, or maybe having a side chat with everyone who's especially not graduating, and really talk about, is there something you could still do, whether it's an electronic card or some sort of video, I think to still recognize the hard work and the dedication people put in that at maybe graduating and not returning next year. Because I think that's often a group we may forget about. We're so busy planning for the future. But I think also recognizing those students that maybe have given 3 to 4 years as part of a group and saying thank you and still doing something virtually. I think, also sending stuff to them, but just remembering to recognize them and not forgetting about that population either.
Yeah. And I actually have, Reagan, you go first.
Oh, no, keep on going. I was just like talking how that is something important I've thought about just because we have so many people graduating this semester.
Yeah. That's actually a really great point, Megan. And I have one of the webinars that I'm going to be doing. I think it's one of the very last ones kind of in May, maybe the first week in May or the last week in April, is going to be all about how to celebrate your membership. But I think that's a really great thing to start thinking about right now is how are we going to honor those seniors? Is it going to be a social media spotlight? Is it going to be that everybody gets on FaceTime and, we let them wear their graduation cap and gown and do a pretend graduation for them or something? Those are really great things to be thinking about right now.
Yeah, I even think, Jess, you mentioned social media. I think one of the really cool things is that athletics, what they have been doing is they've been doing senior spotlight. So if anyone follows Lynn Athletics on Twitter, and every day they pick a team and they recognize each person and kind of write a little bit about them and post a picture of them, which I thought was really cool and a really nice way to recognize since they weren't able to do their annual show or awards banquet. So a great idea out there to recognize them through social media.
Agreed.
That's perfect.
So the next thing to talk about is Presence. And Presence is our online, just for Lucas, our online engagement platform that we have for student organizations. So they utilize this platform to request room reservations, keep track of how many members are coming to meetings, stuff like that. And so I'm just asking that students in organizations keep entering all meetings and events into Presence. So Reagan, if you do have a brotherhood event, if you could just please put that into Presence and kind of either check students in or just send me an email with the names of the students, I'll put them in. Okay. We are still doing report outs about how many organizations are meeting and how many interactions they're having with other students. So it is really important that you, as always, utilize Presence.
Yeah, does that include chapter as well?
Does it include what?
Chapter.
Yes, that would be really great if you could do that as well. And again, like I said, if you just want to shoot me a quick email that's literally like, this is who attended, that would be great. I'm sure that you already take attendance anyway. And so just
supply you the last 2 chapters as well.
Yeah, you can even do that, and I can enter that in for you. That's totally fine. So anything that you have done since we have gone on quarantine, kind of like lockdown or all online mode, that would be really great if you can just get me that information and I can just upload it into Presence.
Awesome. Thank you.
You'll notice that when you go, you're welcome. You'll notice that when you go into event registration, that it has changed. Instead of asking you, obviously, how many tables you might need or what other things you might need that were used before, it's completely changed. It's essentially asking, like, are you doing a Zoom? Are you doing Chime? Do you need me to help you with technology? Yes or no? So it's a lot easier. And then there's other things that you can do on Presence. Just, again, this is kind of maybe things that you wouldn't normally get to, but now that you have a little bit more time, updating your roster on Presence, your cover photo, reflect on attendance at events, thinking about how many people have come to different things and what has worked and what hasn't worked.
Okay. I think the roster needs to be updated on Presence too.
There's a potential. I think I'm pretty good with at least the fraternity and sorority life with their rosters, because I need to use that information.
Our cover photo.
Yes, that might be good.
Yeah. I'm Jake.
Mia, is this me or you?
I can jump in. So one of the other things, and we kind of started this at the beginning, was really taking some you time, during kind of just this randomness thing that's going on, where a lot of us have never dealt with this. And it just happens so fast. And so, I think as you are looking to stay connected to friends and to your clubs and organizations, I think it's also important to kind of take that you time. And so some of the resources we wanted to point out that are still out there is, one, Career Connections, for students that, hey, I still need an internship, or, hey, I'm graduating, that they're still here, and they are still willing to work with students remotely on those things to develop yourself and your brand. So I think that's really important. Obviously, student involvement in a lot of the different offices under student affairs. We're hosting events every day. And so we send out a weekly kind of calendar of what's happening. I know Jess does a great job of posting stuff on social media. We've got it up on Presence as well. But, we're trying to just do a variety of things for students, some focusing on mental health, some more just fun and trivia and game nights, because again, we still want to stay connected to everyone, even though they left, and we want to laugh. And trust me, living on campus, it's weird being here with having really no one here. It's strange. And so I said, I miss having people to see and to kind of just check in on every day. So our events that we're hosting, we do at least 2 a day, sometimes even more. We want students to engage with us, because we do miss you, and we do miss getting to kind of just check in with you. Obviously there's Pinterest, there's Instagram. Again, a lot of people are being really kind during this time, where they're throwing up ideas, they're willing to share ideas. And so just using kind of social media to maybe, whether it's stuff you want to do now or stuff for next year that could be really helpful for you. And then, again, I think being mindful of mental health, and people are just all in very different places right now. And so I think having some grace with yourself, but also your friends and some of your members about what's going on. I think using the beginning part of meetings or whatever, just to check in with each other, is so important. But we have that new feature that we started this year, You at Lynn, where it has articles, it's got connections and resources that's still out there and still free for the Lynn community. And again, we want to just make sure that people are taking care of themselves, because if you're not in a good space, you may not be able to help, some of your friends or other members. And we think it's really important that we're still here for you, and we want to support you in any way we can.
Thank you. Can I take a picture of this slide?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, and Jess, I'm turning it back over to you.
Yeah. And of course, I am still working 9 to 5 every day, not really going anywhere. And so if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one with me to kind of go over different types of resources, or if you have any questions specific to your organization, don't hesitate to ask. I do have meetings normally in the morning and then right before I end. So I just ask 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. is when you make the meeting for a video conference, or we can just do a phone call. So just reach out to me and we can help, or I can help in any type of way or connect you to any type of resource.
I will. Thank you. And I'll schedule that meeting here after this.
Perfect. Yes, that'd be great. All right. So I'm going to